Okay, that's a good question because I think wise decisions outside the home come from how good the training is inside the home. Because if inside the home a child is feeling like they belong, they have fun, they are fed, they have affection, there are rules, they know where they stand, there's discussion over difficult topics. So the more you are connected, the more you can parent your child in a warm, relational way with firm boundaries, so it's warm and firm. I think the more likelihood there is that when they're faced with those difficult things outside, they can draw on what they had in the home, and they might be more likely to come back to you and say, I made a mess of that, what can I do about it? So it's not the fact that they might not make a wise choice. Actually, they're probably unlikely to make a wise choice because their brains haven't fused together. But if you've got a good relationship with them, then and they're used to having that kind of conversation with you, they're more likely to bring that back. Yeah, I think that is when people say, "Oh, parenting's so hard." That is what is so hard. Like, when is too much? When am I pushing too much? When am I not pushing enough? Should I have said that, or should I have relented? I think where a boundary is not working anymore is if you are insisting and you're getting more and more shrill and more determined about it, and your child is becoming more and more defiant and digging in even deeper. It's over. You might win that particular battle, but you haven't won the war. So at that point, it's like, okay, this clearly isn't working anymore. Maybe it worked when they were 4, but it's not working now when they're 14. So that is what I think we have to do as parents. We have to try and flex with what's going on with them, how much have they eaten that day, is it a hot day, are they on their period, like what is going on, and adjust things accordingly. I think it's really about, trying to tune in to what does this child need right now, and different age groups need different things. And I think these days, I would say as parents, we probably take our foot off the firm boundary a little too early. So we're asking our 18-month-old, 2-year-old, 2.5-year-old, 3-year-olds what they want and what they feel and how they, do they want to eat this and do they want to go there and would they like a nap? And all of that is almost like not enough boundaries. And then we're getting very hard with our teenagers and I'm going to take away your phone for a year because you lied to me, and that's not working either. So I think that is the tough task of parenting, is adjusting boundaries. And I think you only know what to do through prayer and through talking to other people and listening to the feedback from your child and admitting when you've got it wrong and trying again the next time. And I found that children are incredibly forgiving, actually, when they sense that their parent genuinely means it and wants the best for them and is ready to go again. They'll be ready to go again as well. So I think when that defiance builds up, it's because the underneath relationship has been eroded. So you have to restore that first. In order to restore that, you have to restore your own kind of sanity and well-being first. Then you go to your child, restore that relationship, and then you figure out the discipline stuff on top of that. Well, my experience of the way God parents me is just so much patience and grace, but not necessarily not letting me feel the consequences of my actions. So the best thing we can do for our children, as somebody once said on a book, is let them have a skinned knee, let them fall. Don't hover and clear all the obstacles so that they don't have to deal with anything. Let them learn to be resilient and dependent. So I think that's what God does with us. I think He allows us free will. He allows us to fall, see what happens, and He's always there to pick up the pieces. He's always there to love us and not judge us. And that is an amazing, an amazing model. If we could all do that for our children, I think we'd have a far healthier society. But I think there's different ways of communicating, and thankfully 70% of communication is non-verbal. So being with, there's a lot to be said for just being with. So I would say all teenagers disappear into a tunnel at 14 and you see them pop out when they're 18. But in those 4 years, it can feel like there's just zero. There's only grunting when you ask them how their day was. They don't want to eat with you anymore. They spend all their time in their bedroom. You don't know what they're doing. And it can feel like communication is all gone. But actually, if you then, when they're playing on their Xbox or they're, scrolling on TikTok, just to go sit near them and say, show me what you're doing. What is that? Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Send me that meme, and just Go into their world. Don't try to get them to communicate this, whatever you think is going on with them. Just be with, laugh with, let's watch TV together, let's go and watch a show. It's just a way of being with and saying, I am here, I love you, I know right now there's a lot going on with you, but here I am. And then they're more likely, probably at midnight or some dreadful time of day, to then maybe tell you about it. Or when you're driving them to school and you're side by side and you're listening to music, and then they might mention a little something. But I think you have to look for the other ways to communicate and not expect them to sit there and talk like adults about their feelings, because not many kids do that. Well, I think certainly in the last 10 years, the content of those hard conversations has been well outside of any current parent's knowledge. So difficult to preempt it, because they are reading, hearing things that you have no idea about. So I think I would completely agree that it's good to have those conversations in the house as much as you can. So be curious about their world. What are you listening to? What are you looking at? Oh, tell me about that. And then that can lead into, let's talk about our bodies, or let's talk about substances and what they can do to us and that kind of thing. And ideally, I would start it with something that they bring from their world, like a reel or a whatever. I think my kids used to hate watching movies with me because it was always a teaching opportunity. Do you see that relationship? That isn't a very good relationship. And it was funny that they, but I was kind of also intentional, like, let's just use what we have around us rather than sit down and have big, heavy, hard conversations. They're just cringing and dying while you do that. I think we just had a really good discussion in the Focus Lab, and the thing I would really want any parent, my whole parenting advice now, whether I'm a clinician or with the groups that we run or as a mum, is just really boils down to looking after yourself. Because the more secure and happy you are, the more insecure and happy your children will be. So think about what it is that you need in order to do that. Because without you, well, the rest of it just doesn't follow.